Richie, I'm looking at that interview and looking at his body language, how relaxed he is, and there's part of me thinking, crisis, what crisis? Now, I know the results it's been a gradual thing all the way through 2019, but he doesn't give off the air of a man who's struggling under the pressure.
He's very good. He holds himself very well in interviews and press conferences, but some of the things he said, he pointed to the reason for the changes in the team is so they have the capacity to be fresh. Probably the truth is because the performances have been so poor, so consistently. They made 7 changes from the team that started against Brighton and were woeful and lost 3-0 to the team that started against Watford. Watford hadn't won a game. They're bottom of the league. Their previous away game, they lost 8-0. Watford outplayed them at home on Saturday. They got a late equalising goal, like a morale-boosting late equaliser at home against the worst team in the country. Now, he comes out and says the right things, Pochettino. He does. Kane said it earlier. I said, in the interview we watched, little moments have gone against us. Garbage. Like the big moments. The big moments and the key contributions by the big players consistently, by them all, has been below par, which is partially why they're in the position they're in. But yeah, he's good at giving interviews. Yeah.
And supposedly, Kevin, I read not so long ago, he analyses how he does the interviews after the matches. He goes and looks back at the tapes. Yeah, happy with it. Now, there is the language issue, of course. Now, his English is better than mine. That would be hard. But, he goes into such incredible detail on everything.
He's probably looking so well because he's in a unique position. He's one of the few managers managing a top team in the world who, with the run they've had, is not under pressure. And not under pressure in, if he leaves that job, he'll be wanted by another top team straight away. It's sort of, everyone we're talking about Daniel Levy and the money they spend on, nothing seems to be his fault. It's not sticking to him, and it's probably right. He's worked wonders with that team over the last few years. He knows it. They've really get Champions League final with that squad, that team they had. He's sitting pretty, and that's why he looks $1 million fresh. His hair looks great. He's enjoying the interview. Whereas you look at like a Jose Mourinho at Man United, looked a wreck. Looked a wreck after a couple of years, and he's not because it's wore off a duck's back, nothing to do with him, and he can sit back and probably go into a job like Manchester United if he wanted it tomorrow.
Or Real.
But there's going to come a time soon, if the results and the performances stay the same, well, people will say you're not the cause of the problem. They'll say, well, you're not actually the man who can come up with the solution. So, and again, I don't know who makes the first move there, the chairman or him, but surely a coach cannot stand over the results that Tottenham side have had without at some point someone saying, listen, this can't go on, we've got to make a change here.
Liam, Harry Kane. He was, I know Roy Keane's comments on Sky over the weekend, and Man United just go and buy him 100, 150, 200 million. He's been linked with all sorts of big clubs. He's in the middle of this mess at the moment.
Well, he's the one that they've made the symbol of the team, haven't they? They've satisfied him contractually, where there's others who haven't been satisfied. And he's committed to Tottenham 100%. I think he showed that. I think he could have left, and insisted that he wasn't going to sign his contract. But, he's a goal machine. He's not a player like Messi or Ronaldo who create his goals himself. But when he gets chances, he just takes them. And his record this season there is 5 in the league. Kevin was telling me 6 for England. The man is a goal machine, and you see Roy Keane making that comment. That's exactly what Manchester United need, is a guaranteed goal scorer. And this fella does it, He can also get penalties as well, sometimes illegally, sometimes not. And he can put them away. He's a top striker, and he's one of the players that all this kind of controversy that's surrounding Spurs at the moment hasn't affected his goal scoring.
I wonder how long they can rely on his commitment and loyalty to the club. He's another one like Pochettino, who if you relied on his interviews, you just think nothing phases this fella. He's a model professional, wouldn't cause anyone a moment's bother. But at some point, someone with his talent and his ability, he's going to know what his other options are. So if the changes are made in the squad at the end of this summer that we expect, so the key players go, and we don't know whether the manager is going to be in that list as well, but surely it's going to impact what that club think they can win next season, or even challenge for next season, or if they're even in the Champions League next season. And someone like Harry Kane will go.
I agree with that. He signed a new contract. He's obviously got a lot of money to sign that contract. But he thought signing that contract that I'm in a team that's going to win things, and it doesn't look like it anymore. And you know, I agree with Richie. He must be asking himself the question: if I want to get trophies and I want to get medals, am I in the right place?
Like Kevin, as Spurs' most prized possession, maybe they'd say that the manager, like this, and others will say Harry Kane, and as Liam says, this goal-scoring machine. He's 27 in the summer. He's in the prime of his footballing life and worth a fortune to them.
Yeah, and you'd imagine he'd be sitting there in the summer with Champions League final. You know, we're going to sign a couple of superstars now and really push on from this. You know, I'm captain of this fantastic club, new stadium, sitting pretty, and in the space of 2 months, it's, you know, sort of all gone down the drain. But he hasn't diminished. He's the one that stood up still. He's the captain. He's shown what he can do. I was 3 or 4 years ago, I would have been the one who thought I don't think he can keep it up. You know, he's a 1-2 season wonder, but he keeps going. He scores, he goes in behind, he comes short, he wins headers, he scores all sorts of goals. He's positive, he's fantastic off the pitch. He's the fella you'd want your daughter to marry, I suppose. You know, he's perfect, but he can't stand what they're doing. He will want to move on. He'll want to, it's in, as you said, in the prime. In the next year, he'll have to make a big decision. He's sort of come with Pochettino as well. His form has mirrored Pochettino's in how they've come and become superstars at Spurs. You'd imagine maybe if Pochettino leaves and goes to a big club, it'll be one of the first people you go looking